Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and this is going to be my review for Awkward Season 4, Episode 15, Bonfire of the Vanities. And this was a great episode, another great episode, I loved it. Probably the second best episode of the season. I love this episode. I love the twist in this episode. I especially love the message of this episode. I thought the message of this episode was fantastic. And I always love when Awkward tries to do messages and tries to teach lessons. I definitely do like that. Because while the show is not the most realistic show, I have said that, the way they deal with things is very realistic and very, in a way that, oh yeah, could happen like that. I definitely really enjoyed that. And the thing that they were dealing with in this episode, I definitely really enjoyed. So, let's just get this episode. Because overall, I thought this was definitely probably the second best episode of the season. Best episode of the season is still Finals, but this was the second best episode of the season, definitely. So, we see, again, if you remember, at the end of last week's episode, Jenna went to apologize to Owen. They ended up kissing, and it turns out that that actually led to them having sex, which was very surprising. Now, that was definitely very surprising, and I was kind of surprised at Jenna because, of course, she feels so ashamed that she's with Owen, but I think the thing with Jenna is that Owen made her feel happy. He made her feel happy, and even though he's just a sophomore, he made her feel happy. He made her feel like, she mattered and really encouraged her, so that's why I think she ultimately had sex with him. Now, she is happy, but she said, she finds it kind of sexy what he's doing. But after a very sweet moment, Owen actually shows her what she had inspired in him. And it turns out that he tells her the name of the piece. And this is when things definitely get very awkward. Like, definitely very awkward. Because we find out that not only did she just have sex with him, but she was his first. And that's just completely awkward, because think about it. She just took the virginity of a sophomore. This is the senior we're talking about. She took the virginity of a sophomore, and I thought that was definitely a very funny way to start the episode. But, yeah, definitely very interesting. So, we then see something very interesting with Val. If you remember, Val had that fling with that guy, Will, or as she calls him, Biggie Will. If you remember, he was that guy that she saw in the mid-season finale, and I kind of said they might have some sort of relationship going on. I honestly forgot about it, but he's back in this episode, and he gives her the news that he's actually now the coach at the school at Palos Hills, and this leaves a lot of possibilities for her. And she kind of doesn't really seem happy about this, but I think the back of her mind, she definitely is happy. So Tamara, meanwhile, is being very distressed by Jenna blowing her off, follows this. And Jenna makes a very lame excuse, as she always does. She, of course, is, she's not letting Tamara know that she's, with Owen and everything. She hasn't told her about that. Now, I understand why Jenna doesn't want you, because she's ashamed of it, but, she should be honest with her, definitely. Now, this quickly is brushed aside when Tamara gets called Allentown. And Tamara's like, why are people calling me Allentown? Are people, worried about my college or something? And then people start calling Jenna, Suicide Girl. And they call Sadie, I don't remember what they call Sadie, but they call her, this other name. And we basically find out that there's this thing called the phone book. And I think this was definitely a very funny scene. The phone book, which is mostly a hot or not book. It is when we guys rate, basically when the guys, basically rate the girls they hook up with area codes. And, it's extremely disrespectful to them, and I would hope to think that my school would never do something like this. Honestly, in my opinion, yes, a girl can be hot, but, it's extremely disrespectful to them. They're not there to be, they're not there for us to rank their hotness. I would never rank a girl. I would never do something like that. I would never, honestly. It's not about quality. It's not about, just, it's completely immature there. So, Tamara's trying to decode hers while Jenna finds out she is in there, too. And I thought that was definitely very interesting that we found that out. I thought I wasn't, expecting that. And I thought that was definitely a very interesting thing that happened there. So, I was definitely into this episode after that, and I thought that was definitely very well done in my opinion. So from there we go to Matty, and Matty, of course, is still trying very hard with Gabby. He gives her 3 pickup lines to try to pick up the impossible girl, but, of course, she is playing extremely hard to get, as I said. She's playing very hard to get, and basically, what ends up happening is, he does a fourth pickup line, and he's actually successful. She says they might go out for coffee, and they go out on a date, and, it seems like they're gonna go out on a date, so I was happy for Matty, because, he got his mojo back. That was a concern of his in the last episode, which I thought was really funny. So, I'm glad he wants to go on a date with her, but didn't Matty say he doesn't care if he doesn't really want to date anyone right now? I don't think he wants to date, date her. I think he just wants to go on dates. I think that's all he wants. He just wants girls to like him. I think that's really what this is about. Because Matty told Jenna he doesn't really want to be in a relationship right now. So, then we get a hilarious scene. I gotta say, Jillian Rose Reed's performance in this episode, this might be, like, the best performance she has done on this show. She was absolutely hilarious in this episode. I loved her performance in this episode. Like, she stole the show, definitely. And especially because Tamara has not been used a lot the second half of the season, it was great to see her have a lot to do in this episode. So, basically, Tamara goes to Theo and Cole. Those are the two gay guys in school, of course, who are always fun to watch. She's asking them, basically, for exactly the answer they were given, and they have the amazing ability of showing the social circles in which teenagers, dabbles as mediotic while still both remaining meta themselves, so I thought that was really funny. And they find out the obvious, and Jenna starts thinking about Owen before, surprise, Owen is just the man that they want to see. So, basically, it comes out of Tamara's mouth, and she's shocked for a moment that the bumbling couple of, it comes right out of Tamara's mouth, which was definitely very surprising because I didn't know that Tamara really had feelings for Owen. And it turns out that basically, again, Tamara has no idea about what's going on between Jenna and Owen. So, it's Tamara, only says it's because she wants to find the book, and after Tamara dismisses Owen, Jake is found, and I thought, basically Tamara asks him one very simple question, where the book is, and he says he has no idea where it is, but he says, look, if he was, it's in the most unexpected place you can think of. So, their search is interrupted by Val. I mean, she does give them the answer without knowing, and I thought that was definitely very funny. So, meanwhile, she can clearly see the new coach is butting up and making sure she knows she's here to stay, and it doesn't seem like she likes him, but you can tell she does. So, Tamara and Jenna, they head to the library to the obvious spot, as they say, because, she says, where else would stupid jocks hide the thing? And once the book is found, more questions come in, like the grading system, because there's this thing called a B rate, which we find out what it is, and a B rate is honestly even more disgusting than what the whole book is about. A B rate is how many beers it would take to have sex with the girls. Like, that is just so stupid. Like, honestly, it's so immature that this happened. And it's sad to say that Celigus does actually happen at schools. It does. I mean, it does. So, we see the grading system and who put Jenna in there. Jenna knows right away. The picture and handwriting only spells one name, and it's Matty. And, apparently it's a good rating, because we find out when Jenna confronts Matty, and his excuse is it was before, plus it's a jock tradition. But sadly, this is not good enough, and she says, look, you're just as much as an asshole as you were then, and she's really upset about that. And then he ends up getting rejected by Gabby, which honestly he kind of deserved, I think he deserved it. She did overreact a little much because it's been years, and she got a good rating. But here's the thing, like, Matty definitely should have said her, look, that was back then, I'm not like that anymore. But, I think Jenna's just really upset at this point that he would do something like that. Especially when they're on such good terms as friends, I think she was definitely surprised that he did that to her. So, right away, Tamara is rallying up the women in the school to strike back. She gets off the air, she does this she gets on the air. It's hilarious to watch. It was so funny. I definitely thought it was hilarious. She gets on the air and starts talking about it, but Val ends up getting her off the air. And Maddie's very upset about this. So Jenna's sitting down, and Owen calls her beautiful, which she seems to ignore, to enjoy after being called St. Louis, and after asking him to keep everything on the DL, we are bombarded with Tamara coming out of the announcement, and Val takes the book with her. And Tamara's anger is only trumped with her confusion of Owen being there. And in this scene, Jenna finds out two things. One, how incredibly talented Owen really is. And two, how much hate Tamara has for the guys, like real angry hate. She literally says to Owen, I want you to find a song that sounds like balls pounding here. Like, that was hilarious. Like balls falling off. So, she does, however, when Owen turns away, we actually find out that Tamara thinks Owen has a crush on her. and how she thinks he's actually attractive. And Jenna had, and I thought that was a very good twist, definitely, because I wouldn't have expected Tamara to have feelings for someone like Owen. Now, it does kind of make sense, because Jake is into music, and, that kind of makes sense. Now, I feel that Tamara doesn't really have feelings for Owen. She's only like that because she's not, because Jake is like that, and a lot of times they say when you have just broken up with someone, you sort of start to have, start to have the same interests in the same kind of guy, so I think that's why Tamara likes Owen, but I don't know. So Tamara takes it away just like that, and basically so this turns Tamara into making a database for all the guys in the school, and she's telling this to Jenna and ratting them while Jenna is battling with Matty. She sees Matty on Facebook, and she decides to block him on there. Not block him, but unfriend him, because he's not really being much of a friend right now. So for Jenna, it's much more personal. She feels very devalued for the one that she loves, and it makes sense why she's upset about that. So then it's bonfire time, and that's why this episode was called Bonfire the Vanities, because it was bonfire time. And Vala's ready for the fuego, and a whimper till her coach saves the day. And Matty is trying to smooth things up with Jenna, who lays it down thick. She says, yes, I befriended you, but you shouldn't even be surprised. But Matty doesn't get it, because it's been a long time, and here's the thing, she's overreacting but at the same time, he's not giving the importance she needs, because he doesn't realize how important this is to her and how much this matters to her. I mean, she was 137 on senior class ranks. That's how much this matters to her. He should definitely, be a little bit more considerate. I understand that Matty, he is being a good friend here, but he doesn't realize how important this is, really. So Tamara proceeds to sell the hell out of her database, and, it was hilarious to watch. She doesn't mention that it's hers. She says to all these girls, oh, look, someone put up this database. And I thought that was definitely very funny. But over time, someone's going to find out it was Tamara. So the bonfire gets officially started, and Owen's playing music that reaches Jenna. She instantly finds out that it's actually the song that he played for, it's first time, the song he played for her when she found out this was the first time they had, it was his first time they had sex. Basically, it's first time. So he kind of rewrote a little bit, and I thought that was interesting. And she starts comparing him to Matty. Matty, on the other hand, is trying to rationalize this hate that is coming from the discovery of the phone book. For him, it wasn't important enough, yet it's following him like a curse, and I really like what Jake says to him. We've actually found out that Jake never rated anyone, and the reason is because he has a sister, and he asks, what if they rated her? And so Matty tries to explain his actions just to find out how wrong he was, and basically, there it is. Now he realizes that he was wrong. So I thought that was definitely very good. And he decides after the song to basically get rid of the book. He throws it into a fire, but apologizes to every girl he coded, and calling the tradition really stupid. And this really hurt the jocks, but Jenna finds the gesture heroic. And it's too bad Gabby beats her to him and says, look, he's actually a good guy and everything, so maybe Gabby and him will go out and date. I don't think Gabby's anything like Amber. I'm just going to say I don't think she's anything like Amber. She's much more hard to get, and I definitely like her character a lot more. So Jenny keeps herself quiet about her feelings once again, and I definitely thought that was interesting what happened there. So then basically Jenna decides that we see that Val ends up coming to terms with her attraction to Will. She decides to maybe go for it, maybe she should. So I'm hoping that she does. I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen with Val. I hope she does go for it. Jenna, meanwhile, decides that she should, come to terms with her interest with Owen. She does decide to break up with him, to not date him. And Owen's very heartbroken, but I think Jenna definitely did the right thing. She knows that, she did the right thing because her victory is very short-ended. And I think definitely she did do the right thing, because here's the thing. She did the right thing because it wouldn't have ended well for him in the end. He would have had to not, and I like what Jenna says here, it's not that she doesn't want to date him, it's because he doesn't want him to date, he doesn't want him to, she doesn't want him to date someone who is going to leave for college soon. That makes sense, because Jenna and Luke is more possible. Jenna and Owen is not as possible. Even Jenna and Matty is more possible, so I thought that was definitely very good. So then we find out, though, at the end, that everyone is blowing up about this whole dude database, as they're calling it. And it's been blown up, and she's partly responsible for it because it's all over her page, and she knows that this is going to get ugly. So I thought that was a great way to end the episode. I thought that was fantastic, and I definitely really liked that. I thought that was great, and I personally loved that about the episode. So, we'll talk a little bit more about the main plot in a second. Let's get to the subplot in this episode. Sadie and Sergio, they are getting closer and closer as this episode goes on. He confronts her about her attitude, and she said one of the funniest lines I think she said on the show. She said, sometimes it can be pretty tiresome, but for the most part, pretty fucking great. I thought that was hilarious. She talks about being better than everyone else, and she's being very distant towards Sergio. You know, she's not being really nice to him or whatever, and he doesn't understand why. And basically, after a quick and precious banter, they call each other out on their personal flaws. And the potential here is very huge. And instantly, they're shown after the discussion we've wanted to see. She calls him out for being a bastard, for calling her insecurities, and talks to him about the fact that her own mother helped create them while his helped him grow. And this leads to Mummery asks her to let him improve himself. And that he is not the guy that writes codes in a phone book to rate women. She gives in, and basically we see that maybe she's going to go for it. So I really hope that she does decide to be in this relationship with Sergio, because he truly does care about her. We've known this. I definitely feel like she should go for it, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens there. But overall, guys, I love this episode. I thought it was definitely a second best episode of the season. Now, it looks like next week things are definitely going to get a little more intense. Tamara's going to find out about the whole Owen and Jenna thing, which she needs to be honest with Tamara about. My question is, though, does Owen really want to let go of this relationship? I don't know if Owen really wants to. How is Tamara going to find out about this? I really hope Jenna tells her in a way that Tamara doesn't freak out about it. This dude database definitely is not going to be a good thing for them, because now, basically, it's blowing up, and the guys are going to be pissed, and the same thing's going to happen. As far as Sergio and Sadie go, I really hope that they decide to go into a relationship. I really do like them together. Val and Will, I don't know what's going to happen there. I think just they need to be friends, and they need to basically try it out. I say Val tries it out and see what happens there. It'd be interesting to see Val actually date this guy. I think that'd be interesting, because I don't think we've actually seen Val in a relationship. I think that'd be interesting. But that's basically for my review. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys saw this episode. I personally really liked it. It's again second best episode of the season. That's my review. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys in my next video, which will be my review for tonight's episode of Arrow. So I'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.